Hi guys, welcome to Digital Tech Join. Before we proceed with the tutorial, a very happy new year to everybody. We welcome 2023 and we thought we will do something new. And in this tutorial, we are going to learn a new topic called Blazor. And Blazor, that is part of ASP.NET framework provided by Microsoft. We're going to learn why it is important to understand Blazor and why don't we take the advantage of Blazor by understanding the framework and understanding how it works. And so we thought we'll start the year with a new series of Blazor tutorial. And this is the first tutorial on Blazor where we are going to explain the introduction. We are going to walk through the introduction of Blazor. We are going to also create a project and walk through the default project structure, and also we are going to write a code and we are going to create a new page in Blazor which will actually record all our to-do list. We are not going to use any database. This is purely just to have a better understanding, and obviously after this videos we are going to release series of Blazor tutorials that will include form validation, include database connectivity, and much larger topics on Blazor. So let's proceed with the Blazor understanding. So what is Blazor? So Blazor is a client-side web UI framework based on cSharp instead of JavaScript. So this is very big advantage for developer who are struggling with integrating or working with JavaScript. And now using your cSharp knowledge, we can go ahead and create a client-side web applications. That's very interesting to know, and let's see how it works. And obviously Blazor provides you the capability to write your client-side logic and UI. It's all component based, similar to Angular or React, and then you can definitely compile them into normal .NET assembly. So how this works, we'll understand that. So a second definition is Blazor is a feature in ASP.NET that enables developers to create interactive client-side web apps without using JavaScript. It's similar to Angular, React, and Vue. Blazor also supports server-side web development. So I'm focusing more on client, but then it also offers a server-side web development too. The name Blazor is a combination of browser as well as Razor. This is just for your understanding knowledge. Obviously, Blazor is open source and cross-platform. And using Blazor, you can develop a full stack web development in .NET. So that's loads of things to come. Second, what are the different hosting models in Blazor? So there are two hosting models. As you can see, there is Blazor Server App, which is a server-side coding, and then there's Blazor WebAssembly, which is actually the framework that provides you developing a client-side web application where all your runtimes are downloaded at the client side, and it provides a very interactive way of developing client application without using JavaScript. So as you can see on the right hand side, this is a project template taken from Visual Studio 2022, where I am showing you that there are two templates. One is Blazor Server App and Blazor WebAssembly App. In this section, we will be taking Blazor Server App, and going forward we will also tell you the difference between both of them and how it works. So next, so we are going to deep down into what is Blazor Server App and Client App. So Blazor Server App is, in Blazor Server App, the component or the UI runs on server instead of client-side browser. This is similar to our ASP.NET MVC code framework. Similarly, events from browsers are sent to the server over a real-time connection using SignalR. So Blazor Server App uses SignalR to do a communication between the clients and the server, and the same can be dispatched to the browser where response UI is applied to the DOM, that is browser DOM. Now if you have worked with ASP.NET Ajax and use update panel with partial updates in response to trigger event, then you will have similar understanding, or you might understand very well how Blazor Server App works. However, we don't have update panel over here. It is done through SignalR. And if anybody wants to know more about SignalR, I have created a video in my channel which shows you and demonstrate how to use SignalR for developing a simple chat application. I suggest, if you want to understand or if you think SignalR is interesting, go ahead and watch my video. Now let's go to Blazor WebAssembly app. So this is the code where we are saying that you can develop a client-side web application without using JavaScript. So what does a Blazor WebAssembly app do? Provides capability to execute .NET compiled code on client side browser using WebAssembly. So WebAssembly is a standard web protocol, and this is very much advanced feature where you are saying instead of JavaScript, we can use our cSharp knowledge and skills and then develop a client-side web application. Huge improvement, huge development over here, and that is the reason we decided that let's explore Blazor so that it can really be helpful for people who want to do a total complete full stack web development. Second, since WebAssembly is a web standard, it supports all the standard browser on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS. It downloads the required runtime in a compressed form on the client side, provides you the capability to work offline. And if you are aware of PWA, that is a progressive web app, you can definitely install it as a web application, as a mobile application on your device. So here you can see I put a diagram where we have a Blazor. On top of we have WebAssembly and the browser. So WebAssembly is responsible to downloading all the required runtimes on the browser, the client side, and that is the reason it is as a capability to work offline and work similar to a progressive web app. So now let's go ahead and create a new Blazor application and go through the project structure. So I've opened Visual Studio 2022 and I'm going to create a new project. So I click on new project and then I select Blazor server app. I click on next. I select, so we just say Blazor demo to do. This is our part where I'm going to store it, and I click on next. I'm going to select .NET 6.0. I'll untick configure for HTTPS and click on create button. So here is the project loaded, and this is the default Blazor framework, and you can see the structure and everything is much similar to our normal ASP.NET MVC or ASP.NET Core web application. However, you can see certain files where the extension is .razor. So let's go to this project structure and understand each and every entities and items that is over here. So the root one is program.cs. We have a similar file, and program.cs is available in MVC as well as web ASP.NET Core application. So here it has all the configurations. This is a root app. So this is a app where it is a entry point of the entire application, Blazor demo.todo. And here it has added the support of add razor pages and server-side Blazor. Then this is a dummy, boilerplate provided for demo purpose. We'll walk through this too, and then we finally build the entire application and load it. These are the routings that are used in this project. Now after program.cs, we have app setting.js, where it's a file that is used for entering your connection string and other parameters that you can use in your project. Then we have app.razor. App.razor is a root file, and in app.razor it manages the routing. So here you can see the default route. If it is not found, it will show you an error message, but if there is a default routing, it is mentioned over here which says main layout gateway. So by default, when the application load, it will route to your main default gateway, which is there in a shared folder. I'll come to the section later. Then we have import.razor, which has all the directives. So if you have multiple references across in your project that you need to place it and manage it in a single place, you can do that over here. So once you underscore imports.razor, if you mention the directive, you don't have to mention that in the individual pages. Then obviously we have shared. Now similar to other project structure, other frameworks in ASP.NET MVC, here also we have a shared folder where it has the main layout. So this is the main layout page which is called and loaded. It has a nav menu which has the menu over on your left hand side and the main body. I'll just run the application, show it to you once again. And this is the main menu. So currently these are the menus available: home, counter, fetch data. So what I'll do is that I'll run this application once and just show how does it look. How does your Blazor default server app framework looks. So let's do that and just run and see how does it look. So it's compiled successfully, and Yeah, so the project is loaded. You can see the default layout of the Blazor framework. So on the left hand side we have the name of the project. By default it takes Blazor demo tools, which is the name of our root project name. And then we have three menus on the left hand side: home, counter, and fetch data. On the right hand side, by default, home, it displays hello world, welcome to a new page. And then how is Blazor working for you? This is the default survey given. So these are the three pages that is used. Let's click on counter. So you can see in the counter we have something called click me, and when you click on the button the number increases. There's an incremental value. And then we have fetch data, which is, I guess, it's displaying your 5 days record of your weather, and this is the default. I'm sure it's not coming from the database, but there's a default class written which is displaying these records. So you see this is a framework. And now I'll just go to the project template view and I'll show it again. This is the main layout, where, as I told you, this is the main layout you can see, and the menu over here, nav menu, is here, right over here, and you can see the nav menu is displayed. You have the home, you have the counter, and fetch data. So this is how the layout looks, and this is a counter. Now let's go ahead to the next section, that is called the pages. Now if you click on pages, you have a similar folder called pages, which is there also in the Razor project. So here you can see there is .razor extension. So you can see index.razor. So index is this page, your home. This is your default index page where it says hello world. And then we have counter. So counter.razor. This is the counter.razor page, that is this one. And then we have fetch data razor, which actually is fetching the default data and displaying it over here. So let's go ahead and just check individual razor pages. So let's go to the index.razor. So now you can see, if you notice, there's on the top directive is @page and /. Okay, this means this is a root page. So whenever your application gets loaded, this page will be called it. So this is the root page, which indicates it's a root page. Then we have page title called index. Then we have hello world, which is displayed over here. Hello world. And then we have welcome to our new app, and survey prompt title, how is Blazor working for you? So this is the tag survey prompt. So survey prompt is nothing but it's a component. Remember, Blazor is a component driven web application framework. So it provides components. So here you can see inside the index.razor page, inside the index.component, here I am calling another component called survey prompt. Now where is this survey prompt? If you go to the shared folder, there is one more razor component called survey prompt.razor. So this survey prompt.razor is called in index. We will understand this in much detail, but I like to just go through the survey prompt.razor page. This is a similar razor component where it has the code, where it has the HTML code, and then you have @code, which is your C# code. So this is how the bifurcation happens. If you look at any of the code, any of the page, for example, this is a simple page, it's just HTML codes. But if you look at survey prompt, you will have a demarcation of C# code, which is represented at @code, and this is a bracket parenthesis, and here inside the code is written, which is a C# code, and then the same variables is referred in your Razor code, that is your HTML code over right on top of it. This is how a single Razor component has both the codes, and here you don't need to use JavaScript to write any client-side activity. So that is the beauty. So we'll understand all these things in detail maybe in our next videos. Here in this, we are just understanding how the layout is and what is the project structure, and we'll write a couple of code just to get used to the normal syntax. Now if you look at index, this is just nothing but displaying your text, and then it's calling one component. Let's go to counter. Now if you look at the counter page, you have some similar structure that you saw in server prompt. So you have your HTML code, okay, and then you have your code over here. It's just cSharp code over here. Now if you top, you see @page derivative and then /counter. So whenever you want to refer the counter.razor, or whenever you want to call the counter.razor, you will have to enter counter, countar. So remember this is how you will refer the counter.razor page. I'll show that in action. And then you have to title counter, and then it shows you the current count, and it also has an event. So we have button class on click, increment count, and click me. So this increment on click event is written over here, right over here. So you can see it is written over here. The moment you click on this button, the variable gets increased, and then it is displayed over here at the rate count. So this is how you see, if you click on counter, this is how my counter gets incremental values displayed over there. So you see, this is how the code is written, and we are going to create a similar application where we are going to write some loops, for loop, and then display that value what we enter in a text box to the user. So this is the counter page. I hope you understood this, how the structure is. Now I will just show you how the routing works. I mentioned about the counter. So when you click on the here, I click on the home, and if I want to call the counter, what I'll do, I just say right slash, and I mention counter, and here the page is loaded. Remember, if I enter something which is it is absolutely like you can use a upper character also, but if you use something else which is not there, then it will show you an error. So this is how the routing works. Then we go to the fetch data.razor. Now in the fetch data.razor, what it is doing is that it is created some classes over here by default. When you load any Blazor project, it has the property class over here, that is weather forecast, and that it has created a default service which is fetching displaying some data into it, and then it's created a method called get forecast async, and then in your fetch data, it is referring to that class over here, inject weather forecast service, and then it is doing a for loop and displaying the record over here. This is just to show you the implementation of how you can use class and services to fetch the data and display it over here. It is not coming from any database. So guys, I've just mentioned you how the routing works. I mentioned you what are the different default razor files over there, and there are a lot of queries related to when we load a web application, especially Blazor. How can you change the default landing page from index to some other page? For example, in this demo, in this default project framework, the default page that gets loaded is index. So how do I change it to counter? So let me just explain this, because many people have queries with respect to the default routing. So if you go to index, you notice that there is a slash and it does not have the name. So, and if you go to the counter, you see that the counter has slash and the counter name. What we'll do is that we'll remove the counter from here, and we'll go to index, and we'll mention the index. So now the project has only one root folder. Let's run this application, and we should be able to see the counter page by default. Here you see the default routing now is changed from the home page to the counter. And if I want to go to the index page, I say slash and I say index, you should see the index page again. Remember, in the Blazor project, you can have only one root folder. For example, if I go back to our index and remove this index, so that means there are two root folders over here. And then if I run this application, I'm definitely going to get a runtime error. You see there's a runtime error because it is expecting only one root directory, one root page, which is not there, which is able to find 2.1. So let's make the changes back to the default counter, and this becomes an index. So now I've explained you the various structures and flows and in the project. Let me go ahead and add a new razor page and create a small piece of code which will help you to understand certain things much clearer. So let's go ahead and first do one thing. Right click on the data folder and let's add a class. So let me name this as to do item. This is my class. and let me add one property, prop and string title. This is my title, to do title. Let me have only one property. So I've created a class and I've saved it under data, to do items. Now let me go right click on pages and add a razor component, razor component, and let me add this to do. So just let me name it as to do. So it's to do.razor. So you can see there's a empty tags added, razor added. Let's go and just say to do my to do list. This is my title. Now first thing is that this razor needs to have a routing. So I say page slash and to do. So this is my routing page. Let me just run and just see, call this and display it to you. And then I'll add this link to the nav bar also, so that you can navigate from there. So I'll just say right click and just click on say to do, and you can see my razor my first razor component is loaded, my to do list. Let me go to the shared folder nav menu and let me copy this fetch data and just paste it. Now this will be my to do and this is my to do list. Let me run the application and show you how does it look, and can I navigate it from my nav menu bar. So let me just see. So fine, I can see one more menu got added. I just click on the to do and I'm able to successfully navigate to my to do list. Now let's add code to it. I double click on to do.razor. So I add my page title, to do, and then this is my page title. Inside the code, and I'm going to refer. So I'm going to use using to do demo.data. So inside that my class is there. I'm going to refer this. Now here inside the code, I'm going to say private list to do item. So I'm calling my class, and this becomes my to do's, goes to new. So this is my class that holds the value which is there in this to do item, and I'm creating one more variable that will hold the item that I'm adding. So new to do, this becomes my new to do, and then I'm going to write a code over here, private void add to do, and I'm going to say if string dot is null is not null, and then new to do, then I'm going to add it to my list item. So I'm going to say to do's dot add new to do item, and I'm going to say title equals to new to do. So this is a code that is actually adding new item that I'll enter into my title defined over here. Now I need to have an UI, so I'm going to my razor code and I'm going to type in input placeholder, enter your to do item, and here I'm going to use the helper bind, and I'm going to bind to do dot title. So I'm going to bind this variable over here, and then I'm going to create a button @on click, and this will be this one. I paste over here. Add to do. Fine. So this is my UI, and I'm going to just show you the UI. How does it look? So I've created a method which will validate whether it should not be empty, and when I click on that, it should add it. I click on to do. Here you can see my to do is the text box. This is a placeholder, enter your to do. When I click on this, it will get added, but obviously I need to show what is getting added. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a for loop over here. @for each in to do's. So this is, I'm going to use this variable over here, and input @bind to do's dot title. So this, I'll bind it. There's some, okay, so it's a variable over here where to do dot title. Fine. So now you can see it is looping through all the to do variable and displaying the title. This time our code is ready, so we should be able to see things in action. So we created a method that will add a new to do into the to do list item, which is defined to do's. We have created a UI where they take the input and a click event over here, and then we are displaying the records over on top of that. So let's run the application. So click on my to do. Let me add the first to do. App. So this is our first to do, and we click on, and you can see the things in action. It is able to display it. So let me add. So it's not getting cleared. We need to clear this and then add it again. So let's do that. And also, while we are adding second item, let's also display the count. So let's go ahead. So what we need to do, once you add it, we will say new to do is string dot empty. So this will empty the text box. Now second thing we'll also do is that we will add the total item list. So let's see, and here we'll see items. So h2, and we say to do items and bracket @to do's dot count. So our project now, our code looks complete. Let's go and see things in action. So let's click on my to do. Now this time the code looks neat. So let's say first Blazor application. Click on to do, and you can see it's getting cleared, and you can see the count also here. Second Blazor for beginners. Let's see how things work. Yes, you are able to see that things are getting added, and you are able to add items, and you can see the count is also increasing over here. So this is the code that works for us, and this was the first video on Blazor. Now most such videos are already planned and we are working on it, so please stay tuned, stay connected and subscribe our channel. There are more Blazor videos that we have already planned, where we are going to work with database and we are going to explore more feature of Blazor, and this will definitely help people. In the next video we will create a video where we are going to show you the difference between the Blazor server and the Blazor assembly. We are going to create in the next video a client application. The similar project we'll do, and we'll show you the difference and show you how the frameworks works for a WebAssembly client application. So guys, I hope you like this video. Please do subscribe, share my channel link with your friends, colleagues. Help us to grow our channel so that the knowledge reaches to our developer community. So like all my videos, and thank you for your time. Thank you for watching and visiting Digital Tech Joy. Thank you.